Hello everyone and welcome to another Chess Lifestyle 38 minutes of training. I will have to begin this stream with an apology because we are not going to be able to do 38 minutes of training today, unfortunately. And yeah, for that reason I think I'm not even going to add the timer. Today we're just going to get into it, just see how much training we can get done. But yeah, I've basically got to go at 25 past the hour, so we're just gonna have to have a focus sesh, so let's just get into it. So we're gonna continue with these hard pass pawn exercises, try and improve our calculation. And yeah, I've got to race off to the chess club. I'm already gonna be quite late, so I have to go soon. So as always, let's start off with an evaluation and then try and find the correct move. I'll use the excuse that I've trained more than 38 minutes on a lot of days, so we've got some buffer. We've got some buffer to make use of. But yeah, of course, ideally, I would want to train the full amount. So again, instinctively, I would just want to take this pawn, like reduce the chance of white having two pawns, but at the same time, okay, maybe the pawn's not going anywhere. However, like, I kind of want to use the rook for something else, right? And as long as this pawn survives, then I can't really make use of the rook. To complete the evaluation, white is up a pawn. White's king is slightly weaker, though. It's trapped on the back rank, and our king is quite close with this pawn as well. So the candidate moves really have to be taking the pawn, maybe king f3, maybe pushing this pawn, maybe a check, because why not consider if the check makes a difference. Maybe even king f5, right? Covering g6 and hitting the rook. So we've got quite a few different candidate moves. But we really should have a goal of the position, right? And I think the goal would be actually if we can even checkmate, right? So I think let's start with like the most ambitious kind of moves, maybe even before taking this pawn, even if intuitively this seemed like the best move. So for the record, I've just been watching some videos on 2x speed, so I'm probably speaking at like double the speed. Just because I've been like watching that. But yeah, we're gonna keep it up. I'm sure you guys can handle it. So if we push g2, white cannot make progress with their own pawn because they're going to lose. They cannot approach with the king. So really in this position, the only move is to either play rook here or give a check. Now check doesn't do anything because I can come here and there's no way to stop this pawn. So after g2, rook g6 is completely forced. And in this position, do we have some kind of useful move? Don't really see one. Unless, one interesting line that I'm considering is whether we can promote, rook takes, and then put the king in a certain way that threatens mate. But I don't really see it because this isn't going to be a mate threat and the rook can move. And if we come king here, well then the rook can come here with check. So I don't think this works out for us. I guess another candidate move is this, maybe. If like somehow we could like get the king here and like push him and somehow, but it's so slow. It's so slow. So okay, I think b2, at least from our initial calculation, doesn't seem to be working. So what other moves did I have? I also had king here. This is kind of going for mate, right? So if we go king here, well maybe not mate, but some kind of check where we force the king out and then we queen, right? So in this position, it feels like pushing the pawn should be too slow. I can give a check, the king comes here. If I push the pawn and they promote and I promote, I don't think we're going to survive that. I have the feeling that, you know, given they have the move next, and since our pieces are all kind of on this back rank, feels like I should be in trouble there. So again, I feel like this is not working so well. So we might need to lessen the goal and consider like Maybe our next goal should be like to queen first, right? Like we can't give a checkmate, but maybe we can queen first. Welcome Frizz to the stream. I think taking a pawn is a good move, right? This was my intuition. But I wanted to be really ambitious with my goals. So I first went for checkmate. Now I'm going to see if I can promote this pawn. So my candidates were taking the pawn, pushing the pawn, king here, and check. So if I go king here, I'm covering g6. I'm hitting the rook, so this is quite nice. White doesn't have to move the rook, but they can push the pawn. But in that case, we can always put the rook behind, and again, white needs to deal with the rook. And potentially this pawn push, right? Because the king can't actually approach. The king is super weak. So if king f5, let's say they push the pawn, because we can't take the rook. And that's actually a bit tricky, because if we play rook b2, I was thinking maybe they could play rook e8 trying to promote, but then we can always take the pawn on b7. But again, even if we take the pawn on b7, isn't it nothing more than a draw? I mean, I realize this king is a bit weak, but it feels like that would be a draw. So king f5, b7, is there something that I can play? I guess rook b2 really is forced. Let's say they even play rook e7. Maybe I could play king f6 again. But again, they could probably play rook here. And, you know, if I take the pawn, they take this pawn. And if I push, then put the rook behind. And again, feels like this should at least be a draw. Maybe even white has winning chances there. So I feel like king f5 isn't too optimistic after, too promising after b7. So yeah, maybe then we need to lower the goal even more. Let's just consider this check because we haven't yet. King here, does it make any difference? Maybe, because now the rook is protecting this square, right? So we can give a check and then push this pawn. This actually looks very promising. If they push, I promote, but then they actually promote with check, and this is a big problem. So check, king here. We push the pawn. They push the pawn. We could get rook behind, but then they could put rook behind as well, and that's a problem. Again, probably drawish. There's definitely no win here. Going here. If they have to go rook here, this would be fine, but I think they can push. Unless I can promote to a knight. With check. That would be wild if knight promotion was a move. I kind of don't like it though. Oh, what an insane idea, actually. Rook check, king here, push the pawn, on push the pawn. Imagine this move. Now, okay, they don't have to take. They can also play... No, they can't play here because then I just promote. So I think they would have to take, in which we can promote with check. The king would have to move somewhere. And then... We can't just fork and win the rook because they're going to promote, but maybe we can play queen down here. This would probably require the rook to come here. And it's a big question, is that actually going to be a win? This is a really interesting line with rook e1. Wait, hold on, what am I saying? No, pushing the pawn, that's what I mean. And then they push b7. And then we actually give this check to lure the king onto this back rank. But again, they don't have to take, right? They can always play king here. And taking the rook's not going to be enough because they're going to promote to a queen. There's a very interesting line at least. You think you got it first? Nice. Okay, so let's now, before we go down that rabbit hole any further, let's take a look at rook takes a4. So if rook takes a4, what can they play? Well, let's look at b7, because why not? We would have to go behind, which is fair. We'd play rook e7. does look very promising, bro. There we could even give check and then even play this. And maybe again we've got this rook e1 idea. I don't know if that would be a better case scenario of playing this rook e1 idea. Because yeah, I'm imagining like, but that's the thing though. Let's say we take and they push the pawn. We go here, they come here, we give a check, they come here. We push the pawn and they go behind. So we can't promote because then they'll take and we take and they promote, right? So in that position, the thing is the rook is now no longer cutting off the king. And the king can start coming, but then so can the white king. And again, it looks like a draw, right? If we promote and they take and then we just take it. So basically, okay, what we've concluded is that all the lines seem to have like some strong tendencies, some more than others. We definitely have this interesting rook e1 idea. So let's take a look at this one more time. Is it really forced to play rook e7? Is there anything else? Maybe there's a rook move here that does something, but can't imagine it does anything that significant. Maybe it's good though. But then I think the king can start coming towards this pawn. I don't know. Also, I'm wondering if this rook e1 idea could have been played in a different variation, right? So if I go back and look at my lines, like this one was 1, and we were saying rook behind. Maybe now we give the check, but here they can go king f2, so that's not quite the same. I think if I go king f5 and they push this pawn, again, can we give this check first? Maybe now we push. But then they promote. Yeah, and they've promoted, so this isn't great. See, the thing is there are so many options here, you don't really know where to look harder. Look further in the position. Yeah, you got it. Unbelievable, Frizz. That's awesome. Can you give me a hint then? What, like without giving it away, like give like the most subtle hint you can. I'll be curious to see if that helps. Might take 7. If I take and they push. You know, maybe the check is really strong. Check, forcing king e2. Because now the rook's definitely in a better place to support the pawn. Push the pawn. They push their pawn. I mean, we have this one try, right? We have this one try of doing this. And promoting. And then trying to come back. And this is like kind of interesting. We had a similar position like the other day. I wonder if this is actually winning. I feel like maybe the king can harass the rook. And like it would be really crazy if like the king were to come all the way here, the queen would come here, the king would come here, the queen would move out, and the king actually blockades the pawn. And then that should be winning. So actually with that route, I think this should be fine. So I think rook check, king here, push the pawn. If they push, I think we've got this, and I think this is winning. No, we covered this, right? We said that if we push the pawn, they push, and then when we check, they can always move the king. Completely forgot we came to this conclusion. Oh, for God's sake. If his rook doesn't defend the promotion of our pawn, we promote with checkmate, but only if he doesn't promote with check first. If his Wink face at the end. If his rook doesn't defend the promotion of our pawn, we promote with checkmate. But only if he doesn't promote with check first. Interesting. That is true. If we promote, we win. But they can promote with check. So this was our goal at first. Like, can we make a way to make checkmate work? And we said if pawn here, then just rook here. And I don't think this helps. So maybe king f5 again, stopping this pawn. They can push the pawn. We can push the pawn. What was even our line here? I think it was here. Oh, right. Oh, right. We can push the pawn. We don't have to. We don't have to prevent. So yeah, exactly. Wow. So king f5, they can't push because we just push. Unless they can play rook e5. In the sense that if we take, maybe they can take with check. So, I mean, promote with check. So maybe on king f5, we still have to be careful. b7, pawn here. And we play rook here. But maybe we need to move the king still away from this checkmate. So that we are checkmating. Very nice. Very, very nice. So king f5. Is there anything left to calculate? What else can they try? I mean, what if king f5 and they just say like, right, I'm just going to come down here. If we push the pawn, they can always come behind. And then we no longer have our fun. So maybe if king f5 and they come all the way down, we can give a check. They play king e2. And maybe here we can push. And the point is, in that position, they have to play rook here. In which now, I reckon we might have this check. Does that do something? Oh, but we're well in time, right? We're actually well in time because they haven't even pushed the pawn. So we can just give check and push this pawn. Yeah, we're actually well in time. We can just promote even. And this is completely winning. I think the king is close enough so that these pawns won't be an issue, right? Maybe we should just calculate to make sure. So let's say this. We check, pawn up, rook here, promote, takes, a5. And in that position, we can crucially play this move. And that means the pawn can't move forward because then we take and then this pawn pushes and we come behind. So I think that is winning. Okay, so rook d6 is something that we didn't consider. I guess it's similar to rook e8 in the sense that you want to get behind. But it looks like there we can just give this check, the same kind of line, king here, and then push the pawn. And I think this should be completely winning. Okay, so they come out to d2. I don't think it makes any difference. I think we can just push. But does it make a difference? Is this king fast enough to support? So if we push the pawn and they play rook here, and we promote, and they take, and we take, what else can they try? Let's say they play king here, but surely that's not going to be fast enough. It's kind of annoying though. That's very annoying. Here, here. Here. I think we're one move in time. In that position because we can play king here. Let's say they play b7, we can come all the way down. They can play a5, we can play king here, they can go a6, and we can play king c7. And on a7, we can take. So I think we're just in time to win this. That's what my calculation is saying. Nice. Are you coming on 27 third? Yeah, if Eagle confirms, then it's confirmed. I will be down to play our match, Lucas, for sure. So yeah, that was a very, very nice clue. So thank you, Frizz, for helping me out there. And we can see actually that the calculation was correct in terms of like the goal, right? At first, I was looking at taking this pawn, and then I thought, no, let's be more ambitious. Let's look for checkmate. But I missed this crucial detail that, yeah, actually, when they push the pawn, this is not forced, right? This was the error in calculation. I assumed that this move is forced. And I think you should be very careful with any assumptions, because as soon as you make the assumption, it's harder to unsee it. As soon as you think that this is forced, then it's very tough. But yeah, seeing that this is checkmate, probably therefore I should spend a bit more time evaluating and make sure I understand that this is checkmate, and then and then it's fine. So let's just make sure that, yeah, this is just not in time, and this is definitely the method. So yeah, rook b1, of course. Oh yeah, we were saying king c2, and then king e6. Yeah, and this is all just not working out in time. I think my calculation was good enough here. Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Fres. I guess we can try do one more, very, very quick, and then I really have to go. So, okay, of course doing an exercise really, really quick is never a good idea, but we'll try. So, okay, this is a wild position. Let's evaluate and then find the correct move. Okay, daydreaming again. Not the best idea when you're short on time. Okay. Okay, so I've evaluated time for some candidates. Okay, so I think you don't have to spend too long on candidates at the start. Okay, evaluation-wise, we have a pawn for the rook. Our king is much, much weaker. Their king's on the dark square. We've got a light squared bishop. Right now, our queen is being attacked. So, of course, the first candidate move has to be taking the rook. Maybe another one could be to promote, but I don't really see what that does. Maybe we could be cheeky with h4 as well, right? Like, maybe these kind of in-between moves could be something. But for starters, we should just see why can't we take this rook? So, if we take the rook, at first glance, it looks like we're completely winning because we're going to get a queen and then we're just massing the material up, and if there's no mate, then we're fine. So after taking this, what can black do? I don't see it at all. Literally nothing. Like, if they play queen here... I was thinking of king h2, but then we actually lose the pawn. But still, you could grind this position forever with the bishop with this pawn. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, we take... Because probably if we promote, there's probably some devastating check, right? Oh, I don't see it. Oh, I do see it. They can give knight check. We can't block. And wherever we go, there's going to be this checkmate. So maybe we can throw in the check first, cover c1, and then we can think about promoting. But then they can always do a discovered check where they hit our queen. But we have a queen. Doesn't look so bad. But yeah, do we really have any serious alternatives? Like, let's say we play h4. Is this actually any good? This position is horrible. Because any normal person takes this. I can't calculate this well enough, actually. I feel like it's really tough to evaluate. Maybe h4. But h4, actually, they can take. We're forced to take. They can take. We're forced to go in the corner. There's no mating that. But maybe they can just drop back. But then this should be winning for me. I feel like this should be winning. Although they can blockade the pawn. Maybe it's not winning. Maybe I'm lost. Well, that was a ton of events. So I don't think h4 is working. I think queen g2 is probably pretty good. And if we promote, are we getting in trouble? Yeah, probably check. We can't take because of mate. And then if we play king h2, what's the knockout blow? There must be something here. Like, knight f1 check has to be good. They come back out. No, because then I take the rook. So actually, what's the win? If we promote and they give a check and we play king h2, what's the win? We go knight f1, king g1. Because we need to go back to e3 to have this mate threat on g2. I don't know. Why can't we promote? Oh, they can probably take and then just take on g2. And this looks really bad. King e2. At the very least, they've got a perpet, right? They can give a check, they can bring a check back, and at the very least, they've got a perpet. Maybe even more. So, ultimately, we have to take this rook. There's literally no other move. Yeah, and this is the crunch. What are we gonna do here? This pawn is attacked, which isn't ideal to have to lose. I think we'd still have good chances to grind, but probably there's something concrete here, right? So this check is definitely enticing because we cover c1. The only issue is that we do get hit with this fork. So when we give check, maybe we need to consider where black goes, but I don't know. We don't have any other checks. Can't be sacking the queen. Queen f2 or like moving the king. We lose this pawn. I really don't want to lose that pawn. I think we're even in trouble in that kind of position because the knight is still so strong. What was the other move we had in mind? Oh, just promoting, right? But then we had some like nasty discovery with knight g4. And we don't have a good way to block. Because this queen c1 is super deadly. But maybe we go king f1. They come down with a check. And we block queen e1. Feels really close to being lost. But maybe it's not. I don't think knight h2 works because of king f2. And we start to unravel. If they go back to e3 with check, then maybe I can just play king e2. And I think I'm actually doing fine. Maybe this is the point. I can just promote and there's no problem. I think that might be the point. I think I can just promote. Knight g4, king f1. Knight h. In a blitz game, I would have just promoted by now. I think it's worth the try. I think it's worth the risk. I get really good vibes that I'm escaping. Really good vibes, but I don't know. Check, king here. Check, king here. I really want to promote. Wait, if I promote, what if they don't do a discovered check? What if they just go in with this check? Am I absolutely doomed? In this position, I can't block. I have to play king h2, and am I getting wrecked? I must be getting wrecked. There's no way I survive this. Knight f1 check. To be fair, I can take the knight there, though. I'm up a queen. So on check, I can just come here. Incredible. I reckon I can promote. I'm going to do it. I'm in a rush. I'm going to do it. I'm not surviving this. Unbelievable. Okay. Guys, I'm going to have to bounce. I'm going to have to run. I guess it's this check. Yeah, I thought that it was working. I didn't see the win. But now we can promote. So this is the difference. So what was I missing here? So if I give a check, I thought that the reason why this isn't good enough is because of knight d1, and I didn't see that I would be doing enough here to be fine. But I guess I've got some very precise bishop d5 that ends up working. So I thought to be more ambitious here and just give this promotion. I thought this was working, but okay, knight g4 is apparently a draw. King f1, and what did I miss? Knight h2? Yeah, and I thought I was unraveling. Yeah, and I calculated this, and I saw there was no more checks with the knight. But there is a check with the queen. This is what I missed. I missed this queen e3 check. I got up to this point, I saw there's no more checks with the knight. And I thought there were no more good checks with the queen. And I thought I was just fine. But yeah, this queen e3 is huge. So yeah, this one's actually quite tough because you need to really evaluate that this final position is winning. Or at least advantage. And I guess you need to see that this is a draw. So yeah, nice exercise in the end. Unfortunately, we get to end on a positive actually, still a +1, that's nice. And some questions in chat, so I'll very quickly answer, then I have to rush. So, random question, but what do you think of FIDE's plan to increase everyone's rating by 400 points? incredible. Like, this needed to be done. I don't think it solves the problem entirely, but this is definitely a good step. Yeah, Percy I think is great. Balances feeder of top players. Yeah, exactly. It's insane how, like, you know, players under 2,000 can completely shark an opponent's... Like, let me just show you this. Let me just show you this, just because it was on my mind the other day. Let me show you this tournament where I had a really, really great tournament. I know this isn't so relevant, but I need to discuss this. This tournament, this guy is 2100 something. This guy is 2200 something ECF. I don't know about this guy. This 1700 FIDE is 2100 ECF. And then I think this guy was a 2000. So I played everyone who was slightly underrated, but this guy was massively underrated. I score 2 out of 5, and I get an overall minus. But against this opposition, especially with my starting rating of 1900, I should be gaining from this tournament. But in the end, I get minus because I lose to a 1700, but this guy is actually 2100. So yeah, it's really rough. Like, you know, at least if this guy was like with the plus 400 after FIDE, so okay, with a rating of 1700, he's probably gonna gain like 100 or something. At least it's slightly within reason, a bit more in reason. But yeah, this was a crazy tournament where I lost rating and it just completely sucked because like I played some really great chess. But yeah, I really support it. For example, I'm 2100 onlinechess.com, but I only started playing the club this year. My elo is like 1250. Right, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, if you get started off at a really low rating, it's incredibly tough to climb. And yeah, the climb is just unreasonable. Like, you know, there's no point starting at a rating of 1000. It's just so... Yeah, like, you're going to improve way faster, and then you're just not going to be your rating. So there's just no point having a FIDE of 1000. So I think it's good. Yeah, exactly. So... yeah, I don't know who would be against it. Like, literally, it favors the beginners, it favors the intermediate, it favors the advanced. So, I think on that note, guys, I'm going to have to call it a day. I'm sorry we couldn't do 38 minutes of streaming today. However, I do have to rush off to the chess club. I'm probably supposed to be supervising a 13-year-old who might be there already, so I need to go. But on that note, everyone, adios.